Hello students, welcome to Misostudy video classes. Today, as it is very clearly mentioned on this green board, what we are planning to do. So today we are going to discuss JEE advanced pattern questions, and the topic is very important, very scoring, that is wave optics, one of the most important topics of your class 12th, because from optics if you are getting like 3 to 4 questions, then 50% questions from wave optics and 50% from ray optics. So if your ray optics and wave optics prepared very well and also by means of practicing problem based upon various concepts, then you can say 100% one branch of physics is complete. Fine. So in today's discussion, what we will plan, what we will do, we will try to pick up different type of questions as per the process of IIT JEE exam pattern, that is specifically advanced pattern. So as you know that there are various type of questions they used to ask in question paper, that is only one option correct, more than one option correct, analytical type, matrix match, so integer type. So what I planned in this discussion, as I will keep on moving, you will find that almost all type of questions we tried our best to incorporate. Fine. So once again welcome to all of you for Misostudy's video classes. Let's start this discussion, and as usually I will start with a simple question. Fine. Gradually I will go for the difficult questions. So this is your first question. Now why I am starting the discussion from Young's double slit experiment, that is Ydse. Reason is simple. If you analyze your entire wave optics, you will find that Young's double slit experiment, that is interference phenomena and diffraction phenomena, only these two are important phenomena. One another aspect is polarization. So all in all three concepts, that is this Young's double slit experiment, then diffraction, Fraunhofer and Fresnel's cross, and then polarization. So I am starting the discussion with this question. Now just to make the starting simple, here I am saying monochromatic light. Monochromatic means only one wavelength is available. Now in Ydse, using monochromatic light of wavelength lambda, the path difference in terms of an integer n corresponding to any point having half the peak intensity is given by what? Question is slightly twisted. Fine, twisted in the sense, rather than mentioning things directly, slight twisting of the you can say ideas is included in this question, so that a student who is preparing seriously for JEE advanced pattern exam should understand the question only if he or she is reading the question with utmost care. Now 2 points are clear. Number one, we have to talk in terms of path difference. Fine. So path difference means delta x is equal to lambda upon 2 pi into delta phi, where delta phi is phase difference. Another is something associated with intensity. Okay. So we know that for Young's double slit experiment, intensity pattern is given as I is equal to I naught cos square phi by 2. This is sometimes I naught or I max peak value. Now phi is what? That phase difference. So if at any point of time we can find this, then obviously we can find the value of this variation intensity. One more important aspect, if you read the last line, having half the peak intensity means I is equal to I naught by 2. It is given in the problem itself. Fine. So with this explanation, let me allow to start the explanation and solution of this question. What I will do, I will use this space available. Fine. And for that point, it may be possible that some portions or these options are not exactly visible to you. So don't worry. First I will explain you how exactly you have to proceed, and then one by one we can discuss these options, which one is correct. Okay. So let me allow to write down this. First what I said, given given I is equal to I naught by 2. Let us say this is equation number 1 because it is given in the problem. Then another formula which I mentioned, I is equal to I naught cos square phi by 2. So, I is equal to I naught cos square phi by 2, equation number 2. Now, what I should say, from Roman symbolic 1, from 1 and 2. Now, what exactly we are trying to find out? Basically, we are trying to find out this value of phi. If phi is with us, then very easily we can find out the path difference. Okay. So, from here, if you put I naught by 2 over here, so what I can write down, that is I naught cos square phi by 2. Fine. Although I should not elaborate up to this level, but because it is the first question, fine, that is why I am elaborating. Otherwise, I thought directly mention the value of phi. Now, this I naught cancel, fine. So, what is left, that is 1 by 2 cos square phi by 2, fine. Now, from here you can say cos phi by 2 is equal to 1 upon root 2, fine, and 1 upon root 2 means what? That is 45 degrees for cos, that is pi by 4. So, I hope this explanation is not very difficult for you, rather not difficult at all. If you are preparing for JEE advanced level, this much mathematics is always on the tips of the students. So, what I will do now, I will write down the values, possible values for phi. And why I am saying possible values? It is not like that only one value, fine. Obviously, it will keep on changing. So, phi is equal to pi by 2. If anyone has any issue with this value, please revise the basics. I explained it. Only the thing that I am doing, I am not writing it. Phi is equal to pi by 2. Next is 3 into pi by 2. One value. Another possible value is 5 into pi by 2 and so on. Need not to consider all those values. Now, from here, what is the formula of path difference? So, as I mentioned, delta x is equal to lambda upon 2 pi within bracket, let me use a different color chalk, phi. So, white and this blue, it means path difference is equal to this term and phase difference. Now, what exactly required? You can put phi is equal to pi by 2, 3 pi by 2, 5 pi by 2 and so on. So, what I should do? I should mention 3-4 values for the path difference delta x, because now I hope these things are clear to you. So, yes, I can write down over here delta x is equal to, when I will put phi is equal to pi by 2, so what I will get? Pi cancelled, lambda by 4, fine. I think I should write it down, otherwise few of you may find few things really annoying and then you will not like the explanation, although this is very simple. Now, imagine the situation, phi first value is pi by 2, okay. So, not at this place, but at this place, that is delta x is equal to lambda upon 2 pi into pi by 2, that is, so directly I can say lambda by 4. Similarly, you can put 3 pi by 2, sorry 3 pi by 2, then 5 pi by 2 and so on, fine. So, this way what I can say, I will get value for delta x 1, 2, 3, 4, so on, different values, means we have to find a generalized term. And what is that generalized term? So, general value, fine, that is delta x is equal to 2n plus 1 into lambda by 4, because in every term if we just keep on changing the values, 3 lambda by 4, lambda by 4, 5 lambda by 4, ultimately lambda by 4 you will get common. And for this n is equal to 0, lambda by 4, n is equal to 1, 2 1 ja 2 plus 3, 3 lambda by 4, n is equal to 2, 2 2 is 4 plus 1, 5 lambda by 4. So now you are getting these values. So ultimately which option is correct? And see the beauty of this question, simple approach. So from here you can very easily say this is our correct answer. Actually few of you may think why I devoted so much time on this problem. Reason is simple. Here in Misostudy we don't like quantity, we love quality. The way I am explaining you, it may create some ripples in your mind so that you can inculcate the habit of attempting the question properly. In JEE Advanced exam, if you can attempt only 60% questions correctly, you are in, and that too with a flying color rank. Okay, so never ever go for the quantity, how many questions I solved, because all these questions are different in approach. Okay, so they definitely require some different application of your knowledge. Let's move for the next question, and this question is you can say, is it like that it is from the wave optics? The idea is same. Why? What Huygens said? Huygens said every, you can say, point in space or particle works as a secondary wavelet, fine, creator. So this idea, this question is basically from the ray optics part, a bioconvex lens, but why I incorporated over here, just because of the reason that at any point of time you should not miss the idea that here we are discussing entire optics. Okay, so if suddenly I am putting one question from the ray, it means I just want to emphasize, please keep revising previous concepts of ray optics, because ray optics plus wave optics together they form your one complete very important unit. Fine. Read this question. A bioconvex lens of focal length f forms a circular image of radius r of sun in focal plane. Now students, I am sure many of you must have performed this experiment. Fine. Just take this magnifying glass, detective lens, and in the daytime just go outside, try to focus the sun rays on any dry object and it starts burning. So these type of things I am sure you all have performed. Now today we are going to analyze this thing. Fine. What exactly, if you just notice over there, there is a small white spot forms, and you can lit any dry object just like dry leaves, dry paper, something like that. So what exactly the idea that I am going to explain you. Now, right now there is no point of reading these options. First go for the solution of the problem. So, bioconvex lens means somehow it is like this, both sides curved. Okay. Now, how the rays are going to come out? Actually, the lens is not this much thick. I am just creating just to show you, okay, for your understanding. So, the rays going like this, okay, and the point where this blue tilted line meeting with white line, so this angle is theta, this is f and this is r. I hope it is not difficult for anyone to visualize. Now what will happen? Basically here it will form the image of sun, fine. So it is going to be circular in nature. So what is the formula for the area of a circle? That is pi r square, simple. So now just take a look from here, that is r is equal to f tan theta. Directly I am writing the equation, fine. Now one thing is clear from this particular relation, that r is directly proportional to f, fine. Just yesterday it was NEET entrance exam, and the question, one question was directly based upon this particular formula. It was even not calculation was required, only this concept which I am explaining you. Fine. So the way we are providing our videos, by working hard, definitely you will get lot of benefits. So be regular with these videos. So R is directly proportional to F. Okay. What is the area? As I told you. So if I am writing pi r square, fine. So I will say directly proportional to F square. Or if you are very much specific, and if you are not in a position to like this pi, then you can easily write down that r square is directly proportional to F square. But the problem is, in the options pi is given, that is why I am writing pi. So now very easily you can say that B is the correct option. So bigger the lens, magnifying lens, detective lens that normally you used to watch in movies or detective serials, fine, like CID. So more the size of this lens, more the rays you can focus, fine. And never ever do these things to harm anyone. Be careful. Science is a beautiful tool unless and until nobody is creating problem for others. Let us move ahead for question number 3. Okay, I will not come in between you and your question. Actually, entire question, this diagram initially I thought I will prepare, but now here it is quite clear, all the lines are very perfectly explained. So I think it is better to use it in this format. Okay, what exactly the question is? In the adjacent diagram, this entire diagram, CP represents a wave front, fine, and AO and BP, AO and BP, the corresponding two rays, fine. This is entire wave front and these are two waves. Find the condition of theta, theta means this, find the condition for theta for constructive interference at P, this is P, between the ray BP and reflected ray OP. It means this thick line, fine, is somehow acting as a mirror type of thing, reflection is taking place, and you know this is something which is also applicable for this interference and as well as polarization, fine. So here the diagram is in front of you. What I will do, as no space is available over here, so I will write down few equations, few terms over here for that particular point. That is why I place this diagram at this position, so that even if I am writing like this, you can easily watch it. So when I will say name like CO or BP or PO, at that point of time you just take a look of this diagram. Okay. So now let me allow to write down the expressions. Now in this particular question, if I am saying PO is equal to D sec theta, okay, that is, let us say equation number 1. Where is PO? PO. I am writing PO is equal to D sec theta. Where is D? Everything is explained in the diagram, fine. D sec theta, and I think I should write it down over here, and CO is equal to PO cos of theta. CO is equal to PO cos of theta. PO cos of theta, equation number 2. Now use 1 in 2, use 1 in 2, so easily you can say CO is equal to D sec theta into cos of theta, fine. I hope no one has any difficulty till now. In this expression we not used anything from optics, that is simple class 10th you can say trigonometry or algebra, but it is very essential. If you can't understand it, you can't find the values, there is no possibility you can get the correct solution. Now gradually I am moving towards some, I will not say difficult question, but yes, up to some extent, but slightly different questions. Okay, so PO is equal to d sec theta, CO is equal to PEO cos theta, using 1 into CO is equal to what, that is d sec theta cos theta. Now diagram is clear, equations are clear. After this I would like to mention a very important aspect. Just let me know one thing, this ray and this ray, obviously some path difference is going to take place. Why? Because they are tilted. Okay, so our aim is to find out that path difference. What is that path difference? That is delta x is equal to, now what was the initial value which I mentioned? PO plus CO cos of theta. So directly if I am writing the values, then d sec theta, the name of d sec theta is PO, still it is present in your video. So delta x is equal to d sec theta plus d sec theta into cos square theta plus d sec theta into cos square theta. This is basically the path difference. Fine. Now phi is equal to pi. Now few of you may slightly shocked, phi is equal to pi, how? Exactly. Why? Because reflection is taking place. So reflected ray will suffer some phase change. If these things are creating some problem for you, my simple suggestion is, after watching this entire video, at least revise the basics which we have provided in regular videos. Be careful with these things. So now I was not supposed to write down this, but just for your understanding I am writing. Now phi is equal to pi. So what you can do? You can directly write down the formula, delta x is equal to lambda upon 2 pi into phi. Fine. In both the questions, previous questions, I mentioned like that. So directly on reflection, due to reflection, I am not writing anything else, reflection. One is reflected, another is direct ray. Fine. One is reflected, another is direct ray. So ultimately when you solve it, d sec theta within bracket, if we take out common, 1 plus cos square theta, that is 1 plus cos square theta. Now obviously the trigonometry is simple, which you can do. So ultimately finally solving cos theta is equal to lambda upon 4d. Fine. So I think I explained all required values and steps properly. Fine, you just have to work out. Here I am not doing anything because I know you can easily write down these values. So now let me try to find out which one is the correct option. So cos theta is equal to lambda by 4d, it is the correct option. Fine. So easily you can say that all these three questions which I explained you till now, nothing was very difficult as such and nothing was new in terms of concepts. The reason is simple. In this entire branch of wave optics, there are only 3-4 concepts. Fine. The examiner is bound to rotate only those concepts and will create beautiful questions for you. So let us move ahead for the next problem. That is once again Young's double slit experiment. This topic is so important that before even getting the question paper, you can say yes, minimum one question from this topic. take any year's question paper, minimum 1 or 2 questions, 200% sure short topics. Okay. In Ydse bichromatic light, now here's some problem. What is the meaning? And then wavelength, not monochromatic. Y means 2 wavelengths. In Ydse bichromatic light of wavelength 400 nanometer and 560 nanometer are used. The distance between the slits is 0.1 mm and the distance between the plane of the slits and the screen is 1 meter. The minimum distance between 2 successive regions S of complete darkness is how much? Okay. If the idea or concept is not clear, this question is beyond your understanding. But if the concept is clear, without even thinking, you can easily solve the problem. Fine. Diagram I am not creating because as such it is something which is not essential over here. Only I am giving you the tips how to solve it. One more thing that I would like to mention over here, whatever the solutions I am discussing over here, they all are present in depth in your ebook. Here I am explaining only smallest and you can say shortest possible method, because I have to save the time also for your better utilization. So here what exactly is mentioned? 400 nanometer and 560 nanometer. It means if I can say let nth you can say minima of 400 nanometer coincide with mth minima of 560 nanometer. Again I am repeating the sentence. Let, okay, first listen, then I will write down. Let nth, any nth minima of this coincides with mth, mth means next any minima of 560 nanometer. So let me allow to write down this relation, that is let nth minima of 400 nanometer coincides with mth. This time I will write down. Next time, I mean the second part of this question, I will not write down anything, directly use the values. That is why I am writing this initial point. Let nth minima of 400 nanometer coincides with mth minima of 560 nanometer. This is our assumption. So what we should do now? We should use this value in a formula. And what is that formula? So the formula is 2n minus 1. Let's use different color chalk. 2n minus 1 upon 2m minus 1 is equal to 28 upon 20. Basically it is 560 upon 400. Solve it, then I am writing. Even I think it is better if I will write down it only 14 by 10. Yes, I think that is better. That is 14 by 10. Fine. So you can solve and get the value. So n is 4th just by solving this, by solving. Fine. By solving, n is 4 and m is going to be accordingly changed for the third. Fine. So what I will mention, n is equal to 4th and m is equal to third. So what initially I said nth, now it is 4th. What initially I said mth, now it is third. Fine. Next time for the second half, I am not going to write down this explanation because it is again I hope clear to you. So let us move ahead directly. Now from here if we find the minima, So, for these values, directly I will use the formula, fine. For these values, the minima position y, let us say 1 is equal to 14 mm, just by solving. Now I have n is equal to 4, m is equal to 3, so directly I can put the values and get this result using delta x is equal to lambda upon 2 pi into phi type of relation. Similarly, what we will say next is 11th, just a second. Next, 11th minima of 400 nanometer coincide with 8th minima of 560 nanometer. Here I have to say something. What? How? This is a small homework for you. Then, what is the meaning of this 11th and 8th? Why I am writing? Put some pressure, keep revising. Ultimately, now I decided in every video I will do something so that forcefully you should revise. 11th, 8th, small homework, fine. Now, for here, if similarly I solve, then what I will get? And be sure, I am not going to explain, at least in this video, how I am getting 11th, how I am getting 8th. So, now from here, after solving, what we are getting next? Next minima position, that is y2. y2 is equal to 42 millimeter. So, difference is how much? Now, the minimum distance between two successive regions. So, minimum distance between two successive regions is delta y is equal to y2 minus y1. What is the value of y2? 42. What is y1? Minus 14. So, 42 minus 14 will give you 28 mm. That is 28 mm. So, it is your correct answer. Fine. So, now we are in a position to move ahead for question number 5 without any difficulty. And in these questions, I elaborated, I explained even more than the required, fine. But yes, somewhere, somehow I am forcing you people that you should keep revising all these concepts. Otherwise, there is no meaning of our efforts. Moment you will stop revising these things, you will not able to retain these formulae for long, fine. And this question, and don't worry, this question is not long question because space is less, that is why you are finding this question in a different manner. Listen, I gave the category to this question as analytical. Analytical means, my point is, a question which forces you to think to find out the solution. What is that? That is a glass plate with refractive index this much, fine, small wordings, coated with a thin layer of any material having thickness T and mu, that is refractive index 1.8. So, one thing is sure, that the refractive index of the glass plate is less and refractive index of the thin film coating is more. Velocity of light in this thin film is less, fine. light of wavelength lambda travelling in air is incident normally on the layer. Imagine the situation. This is fine. Let's take a look over here like this. This is glass plate and this is thin film. Thin film refractive index is more, and now what is mentioned? Normal incidence. Normal incidence means light rays falling like this. So what will happen? First reflection will take place at this upper surface, okay. Some portion will go inside and second reflection will take place at the lower surface of this thin film, and third reflection will also take place at the glass surface. So this is the basic idea of this question, okay. It is partially reflected at the upper and lower surface, I explained, of the layer, and the two reflected rays interfere. This is something which is very common. If you take some amount of oil and spill the oil on the water surface, you can easily watch colorful films, fine. So you have to find condition for their constructive interference. Here we have to just write down the equation, and the least value of T for which rays interfere constructively. Let me allow to write down the expression, that is, I am directly writing this phase difference because in this particular discussion around 4 out of these 4 questions around 3 times I use this expression. So that is why I am directly writing, that is delta x is equal to twice mu1 T, a well known relation to all of you. And on solving this relation, one more thing over here, it is a repetitive concept. Reflected ray from inside will suffer a phase change of pi also. So delta x is equal to twice mu1 into T, that is 1.8. So if you multiply 1.8 over here, you will get 3.6 T, fine. So let it be remain like that only, no problem for that. So delta x finally is equal to n minus 1 by 2 into lambda. That is your basically equation, fine. I am not going into those details because I know you can understand and you can solve them properly, because in last 4 questions I utilized them. If this value is now with me, so very easily we can find out that 3.6 T, okay, is equal to n minus 1 by 2 into lambda. So T minimum, minimum means n value is minimum. So that for n value is minimum, you can say lambda upon 2 into 3.6. That will give you how much? The lambda value is given and you can easily find out, 648 nanometer. So put 648 nanometer and solve it, you will get T min is equal to 90 nanometer. So once we use this formula for thin films, we know that, and then the path difference. So this way students, we discussed these 5 questions, fine. First 2 questions were simple and last 3 questions were slightly, you can say slightly difficult, moderate to difficult category. So I would like to suggest and request all of you, let's stop over here, keep revising, and very soon we will back with a new video in this particular serial, a new episode. Till then, take care of yourself, have a nice time.